In theory, we are now live. Live on the Fantasy Football Hub YouTube.
Oh, I can hear
live
myself.
On the Fantasy Football Hub YouTube.
We're live.
Oh, I can hear
live
myself
again and again and again. Sorry to everyone about that.
We're live. Let's let some people join Bakar, but first of all, just tell people what we're going to be doing today. Game Week 10 Q&A. So much to talk about this week, I think. Even at 4 p.m. on a Friday, UK time. Like, there's so much still in the air. I might actually, Bakar, make some live transfers in this here live stream if you convince me to make them.
Sure, let's go. I've accepted the challenge.
You accepted the challenge. And what a challenge it will be. Let's just
as long as they're big moves, as long as it involves selling a certain Norwegian for a certain Egyptian, then that would make things spicy, no?
I mean, it's going to be that. So yeah, guys.
I actually don't.
Well, I mean, it has to be.
Let's see.
Guys, before we get into this, drop me a comment in the live stream just so that I know that everything sounds good. Don't want to, because last time I did this, we had you muted for a good couple of minutes, Bakar. I don't want that again because it's very important that people hear what you have to say. You know, if it's just me, nobody cares. So yeah, drop a little comment in the live chat, guys, just so we know everything sounds all right. In theory, people are watching. In practice, I have no idea. First of all, Bakar, let me ask you this as we wait for people. Have you made any transfers yet?
Yeah, nothing.
Okay,
I was actually waiting for news before the deadline, and this seems like a week where there were plenty of moving parts in terms of injuries, in terms of midweek games, in terms of just the ramifications of what you're going to do, right?
Yeah.
Because any transfers made this week will have significant bearings on how you perform in the weeks to come. So, yeah, I mean, it was a week where it was worth waiting, and yeah, thankfully, a lot of clarity has sort of emerged from the news today. A lot of people had Son. Son has strained. Apparently, Gabriel should be fine as well.
Yeah.
I mean, this news is actually fairly significant, keeping in mind the context of the whole game week, because I know people who, the people had Greaves, people had Dunk, people had Gabriel, people were, struggling to field even 3 defenders this week.
Yeah. Let's actually just go straight to your team right now. On screen, you have a couple of those defenders. You have Gabriel, you have Dunk. But yeah, with the Gabriel news now, you're fine, right? Just play Gabriel, play Lewis, play Porro, and you have Mykolenko there as cover if anything does happen. I mean, if Arteta's lied again, but Gabriel, at least we know. Well, we're 99% sure he has trained today.
Yeah, I mean, if Gabriel is not playing, or if we get any news that Lewis isn't starting tomorrow, then I can just play Mykolenko. But it sort of gives me the confidence that, I should be good to make my transfers tonight.
Okay. So, how many free transfers do you have, and what are you thinking of?
2, and I think your smile is giving it away.
Well, I don't know. I actually don't know.
Giving it away.
I don't know. Okay, so you got 0.6 million in the bank. You have a Norwegian. You don't have an Egyptian. Does it involve those 2 players?
Yes.
Wow. There we go. You know what? Before you tell us, let me do your AI transfers here on Fantasy Football Hub first, just to see if it's gonna say something similar, because it's always interesting to just compare what someone has in their mind to what they're actually going to end up doing. Interesting. So the recommendation on Fantasy Football Hub for you is to sell Dunk, who was injured, and get in 8 Nouri. I think just looking at like the short term sort of points difference there. However, if you're not necessarily going to play Dunk anyway, then do you really need to use that transfer to get in another playing defender, or can you just wait until Dunk's back? I guess that's the thinking there, really.
Exactly, and Dunk should be fine by the international break, and that's the worst case scenario, right? And I mean, I got Dunk last week, but it was for the fixtures after game week 12. It wasn't for the short term, because my defense I hoped would be good enough to cover in the short term, and I suspect that would be the case. Yeah,
no, Paul's right in the chat. AI does prioritize injuries. I think because AI does look at genuinely just looks at like the difference in points between players. That's the main thing, which makes sense. But But yeah, if someone's injured, they're going to get 0 points compared to Eight Nori, who obviously has a good run of fixtures coming up. But yeah, go on then. Let's get to it. What are you thinking, my friend? I'm actually really interested to see. Like, I know that Haaland's going to go and that Salah's going to come in. It's the other two players that are really interesting. So who are you going to go for?
I'm going to go for Raul Jimenez as my Haaland replacement. I'm fairly certain this will
Wow.
happen. Oh, why does this surprise you? You were
No, because
expecting me to say
no, it
Cunha.
doesn't. It doesn't
Haven't
surprise
you?
me. I'm very likely to do that as well. So we're gonna be
Oh,
making.
really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm doing this with an eye on what it allows me to do in the weeks to come. So,
Yeah.
for example, realistically, I mean, the players that I couldn't get Wissa because I already have triple Brentford. So, realistically, the players I can get are, let's say, Raul and Cunha. I'm not exactly considering anyone else. I mean, I flirted with the idea of getting Darwin, but I believe it's too short term because Jota is expected to be fine after the international break.
Yeah.
Isak again is one which doesn't really inspire me with the confidence with his fitness concerns. So realistically, I wanted to take some funds out of my attack and put them in midfield and defense. I prefer Raul over Cunha because he is 0.8 million cheaper. Fulham are a much better attacking teams in terms of underlying data. Wolves are actually 19th this season. Fulham are 8th for XG. And even when you compare Raul versus Cunha, it's not even a comparison. Raul is actually much better in terms of underlying data.
Yeah, but
So yeah, I mean,
Bakar, you have to say that the Wolves fixtures have been unbelievably hard, right? Whereas Fulham's have been pretty decent. Remember, we all have Muniz. A lot of us have Muniz start the season, so you can't just purely go on. Surely you can't just purely go on the underlying data so far because Wolves fixtures are about to turn. Well, I guess they have now turned, and they're amazing.
are amazing, but even in those amazing fixtures, you won't expect them to score, a high number of goals because it's not exactly how they're set up to play.
Fair
They're
enough.
primarily a defensive-minded team, and I mean, I won't expect them to score 2+ in any fixture, but with Fulham, it's different. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they hit 2+ this week alone against Brentford because it's a functioning attack. Wolves is not a functioning attack; it's a dysfunctional attack, in my opinion.
Okay.
So, yeah, I guess with my structure and with my team and your team even Jack because I recall we wildcarded in game week 6 and both of us have 8 playable attackers.
Yeah.
We don't necessarily need a guy to play week in week out like as a set and forget option.
Yeah, exactly.
With Raul, he rotates really well with Rogers, so I think we can just bank the 0.8 million and use it for a rainy day.
Interesting. So I was going to come on to who Salah's going to come in for, and I presume, of course, it's one of Rogers and Semenyo. But you just said there that it's going to be Semenyo out for Salah, right?
Yes, and I think this decision is more it's tougher and
Yeah.
it's more trickier than the one between Raul and Cunha because I thought 0.8 million is just too much of a difference to it's actually 0.9
Yeah,
now
0.9
because
now, yeah.
Cunha rose last night. So I just thought that that difference is too much for a fair comparison. But I mean Semenyo versus Rogers is close. I'm currently leaning towards keeping Rogers and selling Semenyo because Semenyo is 0.4 million expensive. I'm not convinced he's a much better option than Rogers. So I'm
Okay.
just sort of happy with going with the cheapest possible combination and banking the money for whenever is required. And also, Rogers has just had his rest this week and will have been locked out of the cup, so no cup commitments later as well. So, yeah, I mean,
Champions League,
it sort
though.
of gives me the confidence. Champions League, yes, but it does give me the confidence that every now and then Rogers will he's definitely part of their main 11 and he will continue to get 75 to 80 minutes. The pattern we were seeing recently of him getting substituted between let's say 55, 60, 65, I don't think it's likely to continue.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna like that early sub did worry me a little bit, and that's why for my team personally, I'm thinking of selling Rogers and keeping Semenyo. But interestingly, you talk about the rotation there between Rogers and Raul. I don't like calling him that, by the way. Why is his name not Jimenez? His name's Jimenez. Just call him his name.
Yeah, his name is Jimenez.
It's annoying. I don't know why. Same with like Jota as well. Like, why is he Diogo J? Sort it out, FPL,
exactly.
if you're watching. But anyway,
and Rogers, coming to Rogers,
yeah,
there when you look at his fixtures from a long-term perspective, I mean, I'm not considering game week 10 and 11 because he's going to be on my bench anyway. So I don't really care about his fixtures this week or next week, right? So from game week 12 onwards, here are some of the fixtures that Rodgers has. Palace at home, Brentford at home, Southampton at home, Newcastle away, Brighton at home, Leicester at home. I mean, that is an insane run till game week 20. This is a run I think I would want Rodgers for. But when I look at Semenyu's fixtures, they're all right, but they don't stand out as much as Rodgers. And especially when you factor in the 0.4 million selling value difference and the fact that Semenyo is on 4 yellows.
Oh, is he?
I mean, these
Oh, I
things
didn't
add
know
up.
that.
Yeah, he is. He
Okay.
is.
Okay.
I mean, these things add up.
Yeah. That's interesting. A question from Kyle, who asks, and
I believe I'm very close to winning the challenge, Jack, and it's not even 10 minutes
what's the challenge?
of you making live transfers on string.
Oh, I see. I see. Well, no, because the thing is, I was pretty set on selling Rodgers, so now I'm gonna have to think about that more because I wanted Semenyo for this. I mean, maybe it's like hindsight bias or whatever that bias is. I'll ask Ross about it later. But you know, we all kept Semenyo for this run, and Semenyo is a 90-minute man. He still is. He might be on penalties. Huh?
We did. I mean, I'm not sure.
Well, we did, didn't
actually.
we?
I mean,
Yeah, that's why we. Is that not a reason? One of the reasons why we carried him through because he had these three hard fixtures, but he's easily benchable.
No, I mean, I carried him through because I didn't have to sort of transfer him out because the other seven had good fixtures. I had him in my team for the fixtures in game week 6 and 7 where he was playing Southampton and Leicester respectively. I don't exactly want him for this run, to be very honest. And it's not even an amazing run. It's an okay run. I mean,
yeah.
Is it really a run where you look at it and say, wow? I mean, there are no fixtures against, let's say, most of the lesser sides. Like Villa are playing, Southampton at home, Leicester at home in that spell till game week 20. We don't get that from Bournemouth, do we?
I suppose it's more about just comparing the two as players than as individual fantasy options. Because really, realistically, I don't think there's too much difference in the fixtures. Maybe Villa's are better. Villa are a better team. JR, you're right. It is a sunk cost fallacy. I suppose I was thinking less of a physical cost in terms of the value and more of the opportunity cost. But yeah, it is a sunk cost fallacy. A question from Kyle though, which is sort of a more macro question, which I wanna hear your thoughts on. And I guess it is talking about rank a little bit as well. He asks, do you think because we can save transfers, more aggressive players have been rewarded so far? And I guess in terms of this week, a lot of us do have 2-3 transfers and we know that they can roll over and you're not going to burn one this week. Is that more of a reason to perhaps be aggressive and swap premiums around?
Generalize, but simply I'm making the move simply because I think Salah and Palmer will cover me fine for captaincy till game week 16. So I want to have a quick rundown through the fixtures one by one. So this week, for example, Liverpool are playing Brighton at home. I think that Salah is the best captaincy choice. City are a depleted team this week, and they're playing away to Bournemouth. I think if I had both of them, I'd captain Salah. Similarly, next week is one where City are going away to Brighton, Liverpool at home to Villa. Again, I think I would prefer marginally captaining Salah. Then in 12, Liverpool of Southampton. Again, a very prime fixture. City have Spurs. In game week 13, Liverpool and City are playing against each other, but then again, that's a week where you can possibly captain a Spurs asset against Fulham, or maybe Palmer against Aston Villa at home. And in game week 14, Chelsea are playing Southampton. So my point being that for the next 4 or 6 weeks, selling Haaland does release plenty of cash for upgrades across the rest of the team in a spell where I don't see Haaland as being a captain, as an optimal captain in most weeks.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm looking at making the transfer. And it's not a transfer I will, let's say, judge next week or in 2 weeks' time. I will look at it in 6-7 weeks' time, because that's the period of the investment. Yes, Haaland can haul in any fixture, and it's scary selling him at any point. I mean, irrespective of the fixture. So I know it can go horribly wrong, but when I look at it from a macro point of view, I believe that a Salah team will probably outscore a Haaland team.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. Like, I've just got the fixtures up on screen. This is on Fantasy Football Hub, and we're looking at sorting all the fixtures by how difficult they are. And obviously, City are a great team, but they're at the bottom. If you take the next 8 game weeks up to game week 17, they're at the bottom of the fixture ticker. Liverpool about halfway up. Do you think that this week is the week to move if you're going to do it? Do you think, because, I earlier this week, I was unsure. I still am unsure about doing it. And I was thinking, okay, let's just wait a week and see how Haaland does in this game with fewer teammates available, out of form, arguably, Liverpool looking good. Let's just see this week, but I'm not entirely sure if it's worth that move, and then do it next week. But do you think if you're going to do that move, it sort of has to be this week as it's a good entry point?
Not necessarily, but if you have multiple free transfers, I don't think you'll get a better opportunity.
Would you do it for a hit this week?
No, I don't think so. No chance.
Yeah,
actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't think it's that clear cut. I don't think it's that clear cut. I won't take a hit for it. But if anyone has the opportunity of doing it for a couple of frees, then why not?
Yeah. I'm just like,
because you have to sort of look at what it enables down the line as well.
Yeah, this is the thing, because you go from most people maybe playing a Rodgers or something this week to then playing like a Jimenez instead. That's also the difference that you're making, or maybe even a Cunha. Like that's quite a sizable difference over the next few game weeks for sure as well. Like, it's not just Salah versus Haaland. You are saving 3 mil or 2.5 mil, whatever.
It's basically the difference between, let's say, Haaland and a 4.5 million defender versus Salah and Trent, basically.
Yeah.
Which is significant, because like the 2.5 million, 3 million saving goes a long way.
Yep, I agree with that. Sokan has asked in the chat, is Smith Rowe a different story to Semenyo in terms of, are you happy to now, in the way that you are happy to sell Semenyo, Smith Rowe similar?
No, not at all. I actually like Fulham's fixtures. I'm buying some Jimenez, so that means that I like Fulham's fixtures from an attacking point of view. I don't think Smith Rowe is a sell. I think he's a keep at this point. I think he's actually a very good differential, because a lot of people have gotten rid of him, and I think he'll do well in the weeks to come.
Okay, interesting.
Fulham's attacking data has been very, very strong this season. Very healthy numbers.
What about minutes though for him? Is that maybe it's similar to Rodgers in that you would think that his minutes, I don't know, after a relatively slow start, seem more established now, starting most games. Are they less of a concern than they probably once were?
I mean, if you notice the pattern in his playing time, he tends to get more minutes against the easier opposition. And some of the upcoming opponents are against opposition I think Fulham would need him against. So yeah, I'm not exactly concerned about his minutes or starts. I think he's going to start most games.
Okay. Fair enough. A question from Liam. Liam says, is Chris Wood a keep or a sell? He's been playing so well. Also sends a lovely message in as well from Australia. Thank you very much, Liam. My sister, not incidentally, just randomly, has been in Australia the last couple of weeks, is in New Zealand right now. So maybe you've seen her, Liam. Who knows? Anyway, Bakar, what do you reckon? Chris Wood, is this flag legit? Are you happy not to own him because he's got a flag?
He's been decimating my rank week after week.
Oh, so, I see. Well, that's a shame. That's a shame.
Yeah. But yeah, it's definitely worth keeping.
Okay.
Apparently, he was spotted in training, so yeah, it should be good to go.
He's going to be completely fine, Liam. Don't you worry. I've had a few tweets and comments on the videos, people asking me about your thoughts now on Bruno Fernandes, because obviously there's been a change in management. There's going to be another change in management relatively soon, we think. Or is it official now? I don't know, but Amorim's coming in. Yeah, Fernandes and United options in general. Obviously, we're going to have to wait a little bit, but how are you feeling on Bruno in your side?
It doesn't make a huge difference to my plans with him, because I mean, I have mentioned it plenty of times in our previous streams that I want to give him this run till game week 13 that United have. And let's say if he doesn't perform, then he doesn't perform. I'll sell him in game week 14. So irrespective of the management, I would have given him that run. It's obviously good that United could benefit from maybe a change in manager. But I mean, I still expect him to post similar underlines to what he did. Right? If he does well at this point, it will just be positive variance, and people will label it as new manager bounce, when it will just be actually variance, not the new manager bounce.
This is an unrelated question from Timo, but I just saw it and it is interesting. And I promise you, this is unrelated to what we're talking about with Bruno. They say it seems like FPL YouTubers just feed their own narrative, even when often it's just not correct. While FPL players who play their own way are so, with a lot of O's, much better off. Now, I have to come in on this a little bit because I did a video with Abdul yesterday, and the comments, well, some of the comments anyway, were saying, oh my gosh, this guy's 4.5 million rank. How can you have him on the channel? How can you have FPL expert in the title? Now, you know, we're sitting here ourselves. I mean, let's be honest, your rank's not great. My rank's also not great. You don't want to be a million in this rank at this time of the year, realistically. What do you say to that? Because obviously this season, FPL is a season-long game, and you know you can't judge someone's expertise, knowledge, or tips and advice off just one rank in a season, let alone after 9 game weeks.
I mean, let's face it. I mean, we seem to be getting slapped week after week this season, Jack. And it's gotten to the point where I'm enjoying now. And
you're enjoying being slapped week in, week out.
I am. I genuinely am, because the levels of variance that is going against me on a weekly basis is just it's hilarious to watch. I mean, things are happening which they shouldn't be happening, and yet you just have to take it on the chin and move on. I mean, that's what I do. I genuinely laugh it out. I genuinely do, because there's no other way of coping with it.
Fair enough. What do you think though to that sort of that argument of we shouldn't listen to these people that have had good ranks in the past because their rank is so bad right now?
I mean, I don't necessarily follow the argument that is being made by the viewer, because again, I mean, most of the content creators who are offering advice, they've had good finishes in the past, they've had good histories. If they're struggling in a particular season, that does not make them bad overnight.
Yeah, no, of course. Timo, I'm not saying, by the way, that you're saying that you know FPL YouTubers are bad or whatever, but I don't know. Sometimes it is one of those things where you do want to stick to your principles, and just because it hasn't worked out, does that necessarily mean that you're making bad decisions? I wouldn't say so. You could say that perhaps certain managers are maybe a little bit dogmatic or slightly too.
Shots fired.
Not naming any names. But there we go. That's the beauty of variance. Let's take this question. Best Eze replacements. We've talked a little bit about budget midfielders.
Yeah.
But
I think
let's do midfielders price lower than Eze, or whatever, around that sort of price.
Yeah. I mean, there are two ways of working around this. Let's say if you have multiple free transfers, and if you're doing the Haaland hokey, then it's very easy to sell Eze for Salah, right? He's definitely point. You don't need to sell some, and you don't need to sell Royce. You just go and sell Eze straight away. But let's say if you have one free transfer, I think I'm struggling to see a standout, actually. Let's say if you have 8 playable attackers in one free transfer, I would actually save a transfer, because I'm struggling to see a player I really like this week. But if you really want to sell him, then I think Garnacho, maybe at his price range, with the new manager likely to start most games, that's where I'd go.
Yeah, it's a good shot, actually. And United do have good fixtures. You've been saying it like week in, week out, when can I sell Bruno? Or like, would you sell him now? And it has been no for quite a while, to be fair. And it's definitely a no now. You can't sell him you can't sell him. And if anything, I do feel like, we're going to be looking at United players pretty shortly. I want to ask you about Solanke. Do you just have to keep him for these next 2?
Yeah, let's talk about Calvert-Lewin and Solanke.
Yeah.
Both of them.
Yeah.
Even Porro to a certain extent. I mean, and I mean, Bruno, I've spoken a bit about, but I mean, these 4 guys, they're treating my team as prime real estate, because I mean, they're just dining in, not delivering anything, and they're just completely useless. But I mean, I'm sort of handicapped, and I can't do anything about it. I mean, let's face it, with other bigger fires to put out and other things to address in my team, I'm not exactly concerned. In a way, I'm just happy to let them go and give them another opportunity this week. The fixtures are still there for Spurs and Everton. But again, I seem to be saying this every week, and it doesn't work. But it's just that I have other priorities in my team to address.
Yeah. It makes sense to
I would
me.
advise keeping them. If that's the question, I would advise keeping them. I won't sell any of them personally.
Yeah, that's very fair. Emmanuel says this is interesting. If you wouldn't buy them, then you should sell them. But I think me and you both will strongly disagree with that when there are other priority moves, right?
I agree. I mean, let's say even if you're selling Solaki this week or selling Calvert-Lewin this week, are you getting someone who's significantly better? I doubt it. It's just the opportunity cost of the transfer, in my opinion, is probably not worth it.
Yeah, I agree with that. Okay, anything else to talk about? Do you think that we might have missed? What are the sort of the big topics this week, or what are you waiting on before you make your move? So I'll ask you this: how set are you on the moves that you said at the top of this one?
99%.
99. And are you 99% on the ongoing Semenyo out rather than Rodgers as well?
No, that's the thing that is still playing in my head. That's like 60-40 in favor of keeping Rodgers.
And also, we didn't do this, but you said about future moves. Can we just have a look at what these future moves might be? So if you are to do, let's say you're doing Semenyo out this week over Rodgers. Wait and see on that one, but yeah, that's what you said. So we'll go with that for now. I'll make those transfers for this week. Team looks good. Then 11. So how many frees do you have? Do you have 2 frees or do you have 3 frees? I can't remember.
I have 2 right now.
Okay.
So I'd have 1 next week.
Yeah. What would you do? Roll?
And I would either roll or get Trent. I could get Trent in 1 move from any of my defenders.
Wow. That's interesting. Mikalenko or dunk to Trent if he's out, and then bench anyone. Yeah, Gabriel
I mean,
maybe.
Mikalenko would selling Mikalenko would kind of destroy the structure. So I
Yeah,
won't
dunk.
do that.
Yeah, Dunk or Lewis, I suppose.
Selling Dunk or Lewis, yeah, because I mean I'm sort of getting cold feet on Lewis now as well, because City are entering this rough run of fixtures and his minutes. They seem, I mean, they've been good so far, but they still sort of seem to be up in the air every week. So, I mean, I'll assess him this week and then I'll decide where to go. I could sell Dunk, I could sell Lewis, one of those. Why not?
Yeah. Okay. So that means that you have no. Well, for me personally, I'm looking at doing this when you're selling Haaland and you're getting Salah in. You're obviously freeing up some cash there, and I'm thinking that eventually I want to end on a structure of Salah, Palmer, Saka. Are you happy to then keep Bruno instead?
Yeah. I was going to say that because I also have plans for Saka, but if I get Trent, then that might make getting Saka difficult.
Yeah.
So I might even go for someone like a Dallo over
Trent,
and use the extra funds to get Saka, right?
Yeah.
So I'm not exactly locked into any of these strategies, but my point is that just because I'm going with the cheapest possible combination in the form of selling Semenyo and buying Raul, it allows me all sorts of flexibility in the weeks to come where I can just go whichever way I want to.
Yeah. That makes complete sense.
You see what I mean, right?
Yeah, for sure. And I suppose, by doing that, you are giving yourself the most money. I'm gonna have to think about that. Because I was pretty set on keeping Semenyo and playing him through a lot of the fixtures. It's one as like Wood, although he's still got good fixtures now, he does have a couple of tough ones coming up as well. So I would want to rotate him for Arsenal away, City away, maybe United away even as well. So that is something I've got to consider as a Wood owner. But there we go. I think that's good. I think we've covered most things there, haven't we, Bakar?
We have, Jack. Will you be joining me on the Salah train then?
I will definitely be. I'm now. Yeah, I'm 90%. I think I would say on doing the Salah move now. It just is annoying. I just feel like, I don't know. Maybe in the same way that we did well having Haaland earlier in the season when he was scoring, hat tricks each week. We'd have been slightly punished. It's obviously variance. This was always going to happen. But the past 4 weeks, I triple captained him last week as well, which was a shame. I mean, I don't really mind that much. It's a bit of a throwaway chip in my opinion, but especially this season. But it's just annoying. Yeah, Ansel says Haaland hat trick loading. That's a problem with him. You can never predict it. He is the most explosive player in the league.
I mean, if you're selling him, you have to just mentally accept that the risk exists of him just going berserk in any kind of fixture. So
Yeah.
that's the risk you run. It's fine. Salah could easily do well against Brighton as well. I mean, I'm expecting Liverpool to win comfortably against Brighton.
They're predicted to score more goals than Man City, and that's one of the things that's really, making me go towards selling Haaland for Salah. But yeah, that's going to do it. Guys, if you would like to see what Bakar ends up doing, then your final team reveal will be posted. When will it be posted? Tomorrow morning, then I presume. Or I mean, you might do your transfers today.
I have.
Jimenez is going to rise, isn't he? Are you going to do it today?
My team reveal has already been posted on the Hub website.
Oh, really?
And
Okay.
I doubt I update it because it's the transfers are likely to be similar.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I'm going to move tonight because there's no point of waiting. Semenyo is also close to a fall, by the way. Semenyo is also very close to a fall. I think he can fall tonight.
Oh God, it's not what I want to hear.
Yeah.
Well, look, I said that I was going to do a live transfer. I now cannot because I have to think about this a little bit more. Sorry to disappoint you guys.
Sure.
But there we go.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine. But I think I'll move tonight. I don't think there's any point of waiting till tomorrow.
Yeah.
You might get a Gabriel leak, but I mean, worst case scenario, if he's benched, I'll just play Mykolenko.
Yeah, Mykolenko's fine. Yeah. All right, mate. Good stuff. Thanks, guys, for watching. Good luck. Good luck this week, as always. And
good luck, everyone.
Yeah, we will catch you on the next one.